My name is Billy Franks. I work for Astellas Pharmaceuticals. I'm heading up a group we call Analytics within our real-world informatics department at Astellas. My role within the Pioneer Consortium is working on Work Package 5, which is focused on the analytic techniques we will apply towards the big data that we will access in this consortium. The key things that we've delivered in the last 12 months have been focused on the ability to capture the kind of research we plan. So we have the data analysis plan, which is now a draft template for use across any of our research questions. We've also worked on the protocols, like the protocol template, which will be used also to capture the research that we're planning within this consortium. We've supported the other work packages around elements of the data model. So how are data going to be captured from their source and used in a way which is common across each of the data assets to enable us to do analytics. So we've supported that work stream. Additionally, we have supported the team that's working on the definitions around prostate cancer and making sure that we're bringing insights, what we have from industry and academics into those discussions. Yeah, I found it to be very open, very collaborative. Everybody brings their individual expertise, and there's a lot of mutual respect between each of the members within this. Each of the work streams are made up of an academic lead as well as an industry lead. And we both bring different skill sets and backgrounds and kind of team dynamics. So I think it's worked really well across the different backgrounds we bring. Yeah, for me, the work in Work Package 5 is critical. We have the data at the end of the day, and we'll have questions about what's in those data, but the analytics methods, when they're done well, when they're done appropriately, that's where the real insights are going to come from that drive how do we see the evidence from those data supporting the conclusions we bring to each of the questions. So the way I would describe this to kind of the layperson is that if you have a lot of information on many different patients, how do you talk about a general finding from many patients? The fact that a few people may have an outcome, does that mean that it's a really high-risk outcome or a low-risk outcome? How do we quantify that into some numbers? And that's what this work package does, is how do we quantify the total evidence from all of the patients that are part of these data assets into a descriptive that we can then talk about to the public. Yes, there's several. So once we start getting data in the system, there's a few different steps that are going to have to happen. We have to translate the data from the format they're in today into this common data model. And when you translate data from one format into another format, you may lose information, or you may even misclassify information that sits there. So one of the key things we'll do in the beginning is do analytics on the data as they are today in their current structure, do it again after the transformation, and see if we come to the same conclusions. So, average ages of the population in the data set, what's the percentage of males and females, kind of basic descriptives about those populations before and after transforming the data. That's one of the challenges. And then I think another challenge is we're not going to have all the data in sort of one big pool. It's going to be some data that are in a pool and some data that are sitting at individual sites. We have to apply methods that allow us to look at data individually without being all in one spot. And that's a different analytic challenge as well that we have to solve here. Yes. So the planning is already in place for many of these things. Our activities are a little further downstream. So I would say the real implementation of these ideas is going to start in the next 12 months. So far, it's been more of the planning stage on documentation and process. Yeah, I think one of the major goals is to support this transformation to the common data model. As we move into the OMOP data model, that's going to be a critical task that we do this right, and we learn very quickly from the early implementation, so we support the later data ingestion steps very efficiently. The other activities are going to be supporting the research questions. So again, we want our framework to be well-positioned for the research questions that we've prioritized. And I think the third thing is, how do we translate the findings from these data into something we're calling nomograms for the population? How do we come up with a risk equation that's applicable to general populations in Europe, as well as maybe nation or region level groups of patients?